On the 1st of March, 2016, a strange and somewhat garbled message entitled, "Guys Listen," was posted on Reddit by a user called a Jemmy. On the 2nd of March, another post was written by a Jemmy, describing a bizarre encounter with alien entities, during which he claims he posted the original "Guys Listen" message by mentally controlling a human avatar from the alien spacecraft. I see that there is a lot of activity in the comments, a lot of questions as well as jokes about my use of the word guys. I don't blame you, it's funny. It was a highly unusual post. In fact, you don't know how weird. And that is what I will attempt to shed light on here. I woke up this morning and went through my normal routine. When I arrived at work, I had an urge to check my email, where I found a message sent from a person called Naomi with the link to the Guys Listen post. I sat in shock, as I didn't remember any of it or anything to do with the encounter before I read the post. As I read through, most of it came back to me clear as day. I'm going to first explain how the message was posted and why I sounded so frantic, but let me start by saying I don't use drugs, not even marijuana. I'm a 30-plus-year-old male and I'm from the United States. The post was communicated in a confusing way, as it contained a lot of half-thoughts and rushed explanations, as I was channeling my thoughts while being extremely nervous and shaken. And on top of that, under a short time constraint, and in a rush to express as much as possible about what was going on. Consider that I had been changed into various animals just moments prior, and had a sleepwalking human standing next to me. I was not calm. The "guys listen, guys understand" phrases that you all got a kick out of was just pure nervousness. Okay, I'll try to start at the top. I'm going to call the beings that I encountered aliens, just to keep things simple. I no longer remember the details about the alien communicating with me in my apartment, but I do remember most things about being inside the ship. It seems that there is a memory block on recalling the beings or any details about the ship. I remember at the time being able to perceive the aliens and the ship, but not being able to speak about them or describe them, even in my own mind, and this is the reason I could not describe the craft or the alien in any detail within the post. I did try, but I guess they were having none of it. Okay, I was on their craft, or what seemed to be a craft. I could tell that it was moving, but otherwise it was just a large space of a strange colour. The alien that I did the most interacting with, I perceived to be constantly switching between a kind of male and female human essence. I will call it Alien A. It's not that its appearance was changing, but the alien is in your mind, so you kind of feel its essence in a way. On the craft were two other aliens, running back and forth, doing routine maintenance and upkeep. I'll call them Alien B and Alien C. Also, there were 3 humans, 2 women and 1 man. They were dressed and standing upright with their eyes closed. They were breathing and appeared to be in a deep sleep. Once in a while, Alien B would assist Alien A on whatever he was doing. The first thing they did was their experiment. Alien B told me that I would become different earthly creatures. I started to panic, but they assured me that I'd be fine and that I'd have no lasting issues from it. He also made it clear that I could not turn back now. He shined a light in my face, and just like that, I was an African wild dog, for what seemed like half an hour. I was with a pack, and lived in a world of sense, and found comfort in familiar things. I was still thinking in the alien language, but also conscious that I was a human. But I had to do things the dog way. I was living off of instinct. Listen, dogs aren't colorblind. In fact, it's the opposite. Also, their motion tracking is way beyond that of a human. They don't see as clearly as us, but their nose and eyes work together in an amazing way. That experience ended with me being stomped or kicked by something that I think was a rhino. I'm not sure if I died as a dog or what happened, but then I was back in the craft and they were ready for round 2, which was a house cat in Britain, as which I was hearing other cats calling me from a mile away. I escaped the house and ran to freedom. After that, I was a frog in some sort of swamp-like environment. And then, after that, I was some sort of mantis, which was probably the best experience, as I could see almost 360 degrees all at once, as well as every single little movement. I could track at least 4 things at a time and zoom in and out like a camera in split seconds. After the mantis experience, they told me I could relax and asked me if I had any questions for them. So I asked them about the experiment. They declined to answer, but told me that the mantis is very similar to a different species of alien, but they don't know the true relation between the two. The description about the mantis's eyesight is interesting. I have come across similar descriptions before. Here is an experience which has some similarities. I had a very unusual dream during the summer of 1997 that involved a tall mantis creature. I opened my eyes and saw a room with metal walls that had lights, buttons and switches all over. I was laying on my back and the mantis was adjusting some kind of controls on the wall across from me. The creature looked at me and I got the impression that it had been waiting for me to wake up. It walked over and touched my forehead, and suddenly I was seeing through the creature's eyes. I could see everything in the most bizarre way. It was like seeing all sides of everything inside and out at the same time. While this was happening, I also felt an intense and terrible fear. I understood that while I was seeing through the mantis's eyes, it was also seeing through my eyes, and it was terrified of my limited vision. It seemed as if the creature became horribly claustrophobic and pulled away from me, and that's all I remember. I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a moment. I want to talk about the mantis. Most of the mantis reports I've read so far have a common theme, that being technology. They are usually reported as being analytical and scientific. If the mantis experience happens in our reality, say in the bedroom, then the creature is usually in possession of a rod-like device that seems to be some sort of technology which is used to manipulate the person. If the experiencer becomes conscious in the alien's environment, the environment is usually described, as it was in the previous story, as a metallic room with control panels and many lights. Here is a quick snippet from an ayahuasca report describing a similar scene.
This is what happened to me anyways. And I went through this wall and I was in like a hyper futuristic laboratory, it seemed like. And inside of the laboratory there was these praying mantis machine scientists that were like at workbenches, like working on stuff like a fucking you would imagine a praying mantis would. And when I came through this wall, these scientist praying mantis machines, their eyes like went like that and then their bodies turned over. And I was like, obviously, whoa, like what the fuck is going on here right now? I'm in a laboratory with praying mantis machines, scientists. And I said to him, I was like, what is this place, man? Where am I? And they were like, where does it look like you are? I was like, it seems like I'm in a laboratory with praying mantis machine scientists. And they're like, you are 100% correct when you say that. And they're not talking to me in a voice. These shapes are coming out of their head, like a whoop, 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 straight into my head, like all these different shapes. It doesn't look like a writing or a language. It's just like geometric shit going into my mind so I can hear what they're trying to communicate to me.
And now, back in the alien ship with a Jemmy. I'm going to summarize the rest of this story as I feel it is a bit long-winded for a video presentation. The link to the original Reddit post is in the description. So Ajemi goes on to talk about how after the experiments, he has a conversation with Alien A about life. Ajemi mentions that the alien was unable to answer some of the questions due to the risk that the answers might actually damage his brain. The reason being is that they were communicating telepathically. We didn't speak in English, nor did I speak with my mouth. It's a telepathic thing where you don't even have to really think of what you want to say. What you actually want to say just flows out uninhibited. You just have to regulate the speed of flow. You have to have some control over your mind. Controlling it is similar to how one would control a water faucet, but with no hands and using a type of mental handle. What I was experiencing at the time in my mind was rapid clicking sounds, as well as visual images, and I was communicating back in the same fashion. I found this part of Ajemi's story very interesting, as the Mantis experiencer, known as Jim, also described a chittering or a clicking type language during his experiences. The cloaked figure looked up to the tall praying mantis type as if it was confused as to what actions it should take next. The praying mantis then turned its head towards the hooded one and made a series of high-pitched clicking sounds. I sensed this was the one in command, and possibly the other one was some kind of security guard. Back on the craft with Ajemi, during their conversation, the alien states that he and his kind have surpassed death, and that if they do take physical form in this universe, that they retain all of their knowledge and experience. Ajemi is told that the universe is infinite, and so exploration of it is endless. He is also told that all known species of alien are more advanced than us, but that humans have taken on a different trajectory that aliens find fascinating. Alien A then tells Ajemi that aliens are always monitoring us. It's just that we generally can't perceive them. His comment here about our limited perception of the aliens made me think of all the sleep paralysis and psychonaut reports which involve interactions with entities. It makes me think that, in rare, altered states, we can somehow get a glimpse of these entities. Ajemi goes on. I don't know what I forgot or left out, but after a while I asked if I would remember the things that we spoke about when I came back to reality. They told me that I'd be able to recall some of it, and that the memories of all of it will be there, but stored in a certain part of the brain that few people can access. And also, they will be stored in a sketchy part of the cosmos which they likened to a cloud drive. It was explained to me that this is where memories and experiences for humans are stored, and that when a human really wants to remember something long lost that has actually left their brain, this is where that info comes from. The reason it takes time to remember it is because there is a download time according to how cluttered a person's mind is and how in tune they are with the universe. I asked if our saved thoughts can be interpreted, altered, or interfered with by others in the cosmos, and the answer was along the lines of, I don't doubt it. This sounds very much like the Akashic Record, which is talked about in spirituality and occult circles. It's like a library of every single experience in the cosmos. I have a story about a man's near-death experience that I will share in the future. He talks about something very similar to this. The aliens then go on to tell Ajemi about the lost abilities of human beings. He is shown the image of a type of magnetic man, and another man who can generate from his body what seems to be electricity. He is also shown a colour that we can no longer perceive. He said it was actually painful to experience this, that it made him cry, not because of beauty, but because of pain. Next, he is told that there are alien seed within our societies, that these aliens among us are here to try and guide us, that they help us with the progression of our societies in every aspect, not just science. There are also a couple of quirky moments in his story that I found amusing. Alien B then mentioned that the universe is infinite, so their exploration is endless. I asked if all the aliens are the same, and the alien said something along the lines of, "No, but I'm not racist." I kid you not, it clearly came off as a joke, although they themselves didn't show signs of humour. Also, as an aside, Ajemi mentions, one of the things they enjoy most is music. Alien B stated that it was the best human invention. I should mention that there was a djembe drum and an electric guitar on the craft. I love the idea that these super advanced aliens are kicking back and jamming on the guitar and the djembe drum. But musical instruments have been reported on crafts before. Beyond Creepy has a great story about some musicians that were abducted. One of the musos brought a recorder with him and later showed the aliens, who were impressed. So the muso gave the recorder to one of the aliens as a souvenir. Anyway, continuing with the Ajemi story, we come to the truly unique part of his experience. The communication with Earth using some type of human or humanoid avatar who posted his message on Reddit. I wanted to see if I was dreaming, although I'm sure I wasn't. So I asked if I could somehow communicate to Earth from the ship as proof. I was asked what I would talk about, and I told them I wanted to communicate some of the things they had told me, as well as my experiences. They agreed, and Alien C, which had said nothing I could perceive the entire time, came and stood next to me, and the sleeping male human walked over to the other side of me. When I turned and saw him, I was startled and started to shake, especially since he was walking around with his eyes closed. A and C communicated something to the human that I could not translate, and after a few seconds, the human spoke in English with his mouth and said, "You're on the internet. You're on Reddit. You're on..." He said something else I didn't catch, then said, "Now talk." As soon as he said talk, I felt my presence being split between where I was with the aliens and somewhere on Earth. I could feel that I was somewhere in front of a computer, but I could not fully perceive it, because it wasn't me physically there. It was someone else, but my presence was heavily there. It's as if I was in the person's mind. The alien planted some sort of timer in my mind. I can't tell how much time it was, but not more than a few seconds. So I started to communicate telepathically in the same way I had been doing the whole time, through controlled thought flow and occasionally words in English. Somehow Alien C and the male human facilitated some sort of connection or channeling to a third human or humanoid that was on Earth who did the typing on Reddit, and the Guys Listen thread was created. Ajemi explains that the errors in the Guys Listen post were due to a combination of nerves, the speed of the communication, and the fact that in some portions he used the alien language to describe aspects of his experience. When he used the alien language, it was typed as dots and dashes. He has no clue why this was the case. He ends the post with the suggestion that he might tell more in the future, as there were some other interesting moments, including when one of the sleeping females woke up and instantly tried to pick a fist fight with the aliens.